Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Julianne. Well, let's be honest, I'm a wedding planner, so it's a little bit of a different venue for us, but I'm an organizer with 1 Million Cups. So is Josh, so is Diana, so is Derek. I think that gets us. Is that it?
And there's Catherine watching the live stream.
Catherine, thank you. Anyways, there's that. We want to start off by thanking our sponsors. Obviously, Starting Block gave us presents today, so we're really excited to be here in the Dream Bake and AmFam. It's a great space. Thanks for the coffee. And then also Town News, which is what I'm now calling Field 59.
We're Field 59.
Okay.
A product of Town News.
Field 59, a product of Town News. So we do thank you for having the live stream. That will be posted to YouTube, and then presenters can have it as well. So as always, we're going to start off with an intro. Oh, I have one more announcement. I'm sorry. Culture Community tomorrow at the Madison Club. Our very own DP Newton will be presenting. Tomorrow we'll be somewhere on the second floor. So come find us at 8 a.m. I'm not sure which room we're in, but second floor. I think any other announcements? Any other events? Okay.
Not that I know.
I had to. Oh.
Yeah, so can I just jump in? And
Yeah.
All right. I'm Chandra Miller-Feen and I'm with Starting Block Madison. We have 2 events coming up that are tomorrow that the 1 Million Cups community might be interested in. The first one is an 8:30 breakfast with Kristen Berman. She is the co-founder of Common Sense Lab, which runs out of Duke University, and they're working on technology ways and strategies for raising low to moderate household incomes. And it's a partnership with WARF and D2P and the university. She's part of the Innovation Roadmap series. So she'll be doing a small, intimate question and answer up at Starting Block tomorrow morning at 8:30. And then she is giving a presentation at WID at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then also tomorrow at noon, we have the Zendesk leadership team that will be doing a lunch and learn in partnership with American Family Insurances Institute at 12, I think.
That's here.
It's here at the Spark building. It's up on the 8th floor. Both of those events are up on the Starting Block Madison.org calendar.
Friday, right?
Friday, not tomorrow. Thank you very much. Friday morning. So
Thursday's fine.
right. I'm really glad it's Wednesday and not Thursday. I need that extra day. So 2 events that are coming up on Friday.
Cool. Okay. And with that, Josh, do you want to start? And then if anyone has any announcements or anything they want to say, just jump in when you're ready.
Sure, I'm Josh Howley. I'm an entrepreneur. My background's in software product development. I consult with startups and growing companies on technology and product strategy, as well as moonlighting as one of the Million Cups organizers. I guess just one note on that front, you'll notice we had no presenter in the room this morning. We had a little logistical, last minute adjustments. So our presenter is coming at us remotely today. We think that's all going to work great, but in case there's a glitch, I ask for your patience ahead of time. When we get to the normal Q&A section, we'll just sort of help moderate questions, sort of reeling them back in, because I think the mic on my laptop is probably picking up fairly little from the room. That's all.
Kurt Peterson, co-founder of 32 Auctions.
Steve Claude, co-founder of 32 Auctions, which is your site for hosting and managing online silent auctions.
I already did it. I'm Chandra with Starting Block Madison.
Welcome to the new faces in the room. My name is Diana Pastrana. I am the lead organizer here for 1 Million Cups, and I'm also work for an office interiors company in Middleton called M&M Office Interiors.
I'm Matt Lowy. I'm with Pine Point Consulting.
I'm DP Knutson with Collaborator Creative and Nonfiction Brandversity. What is Nonfiction Brandversity? It's a free Facebook group that I'd love to invite you all to, dedicated to personal branding, small business branding, and joining a community that has answers to all your questions about anything to do with all that. So if you're interested, talk to me afterwards.
My name is Trezzy. I'm a CTO services consultant.
Michelle Jolly, Healthy Horizons coach for health.
I'm Theo, and I sell artwork online.
Morning, my name is Matt Shu. I work for Human Scale. We're an office ergonomics company, and I help make people a little bit more healthy, active, and comfortable in their workspace.
I'm Kaylee. I work on my own software business, and I also teach programming at Madison College.
I'm Jake Martin from Martin Product Design. We're a product design and development company located in Madison.
All right.
Cool. So I'm gonna just make a couple of little tweaks.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We have a latecomer who thought he could get out of it.
Dan.
Oh, thank you, everyone. My name is Dan LeCloche. I'm a content marketing consultant and a lifestyle brand.
I regret.
All right, and with that, we will turn things over to this morning's presenter, Caitlin Byer. And Caitlin, I'm going to mute here, so I guess I'll just unmute when it's time. But I think we're hearing you just fine.
Great. All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me here today. And a huge shout out to Josh. He has worked with me. I am actually about 2 weeks from my due date, and so my doctor said, don't get on the road by yourself in a car and travel across the Midwest. So I am coming at you from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where I run a business called MarryMyCity. So I'm going to share a bit about MarryMyCity today and would welcome any questions you guys have afterwards. So let's talk about gift giving. Gift giving in the United States for major life events has really become sort of devoid of meaning and thought behind the gift giving. So some of you may be familiar, you've gone to weddings, and generally the couple creates a registry that looks similar to this one. So that's usually at a big box store like Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, Crate & Barrel, and they put things like linens and towels and spoons and trash bins on there for their guests to purchase. So then as a guest you jump on and you buy something, and that's kind of the process of a gift registry. Well, we really have found that the average age of a bride in the U.S. is 29, and the average age of a groom is 31, and over 75% of couples are living together before marriage, which means that many of these couples just really don't need a lot more stuff and are looking to kind of venture outside of those 3 to 5 big box stores. So right now, if you look at the state of Iowa, the average number of wedding guests, which is the largest of any state, kind of fun fact, is about 211 wedding guests at each of those weddings. So that means 150 plus gifts need to be added to those registries in order for those guests to kind of give you something. Everybody wants to give a gift, and really, in reality, people are just filling their homes with more stuff. So couples are kind of looking to venture outside of this usual tradition, and at the same time, guests are pretty fed up with the lack of different options out there, which is why we created a solution, and that is MarryMyCity. And MarryMyCity is an online gift registry that offers local experiences and getting away from that stuff. So whether you're big into music and culture, you want to go see a band or a show, maybe you're a foodie and you want a date night out or a cooking class, maybe you're more adventurous and you're looking for something like yoga or skydiving, these are the types of things you'll find on our site at MarryMyCity. And just zooming in, this is usually what a product description will look like. So just as you would go on Target.com, go to MarryMyCity.com, you create your registry, you add these types of gifts, and then your guests, as they're going to purchase them, view something that looks a little something like this. Talks about the local business, has a price point, and we work with these vendors to feature these on our site. So it's really geared toward giving experiences and not stuff. So as that wedding market is soaring to new levels and people are buying tons of gifts for multiple weddings a year from big box stores, we're really trying to tie that back to these local markets. So let's take a look at what that annual wedding market kind of looks like. So again, looking at Iowa, and it's very similar in surrounding states, but we have about 10,000 weddings on average in Iowa, and the amount that is spent on wedding gifts is about $83.5 million each year. And nationally, that's about $19 billion. So looking at kind of the number of weddings we did last year, this year, and based on the revenue model, which I'll show you in a second, here's kind of the money that's going back to these local businesses, or that we hope to in the next few years. So a revenue model is pretty straightforward. If you take that 211 wedding guests that we talked about, we find that we're capturing about 30% of the market right now of the gifts given at the weddings right now that we are working with. And the average gift price on our site that people are spending on our site is about $81. So you'll see how much is generated per wedding. We take about 20%. A 20% fee, 80% goes back to the vendors, and then per wedding, this is the revenue generated for MarryMyCity. And when talking about our markets, so that's why we're talking to you guys today. I am located here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. My co-founder is located in Des Moines, Iowa, and we kind of go back and forth across the state. And we also are operating in Iowa City right now. So we're in 3 different cities. And we really hit this point this year where we said, how are we going to get into these new markets? So part of the reason why we're here talking to you, but we have a new feature on our site that allows us to create a custom experience. So no matter where you are, you're able to create a product on our site if you don't find something that is necessarily offered in your market. So like I said, we're in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Des Moines. We're trying to expand outside that, so any bride and groom, no matter where you are, can jump on, create a profile, and they can actually submit experiences to us for reviews. So how that works is if you have a favorite coffee shop there in Madison, maybe you have a favorite gym, or you, again, want to go do something a little bit more wild and crazy, you come up with something, you name your experience, you create a description in there, just a simple kind of overview to your guests of what that is, and then link the company that you're doing it through, the quantity, so maybe you want 3 brewery tours, not just 1, and then put a price on that. So now we're able to allow couples in these new markets to kind of demand the market there. So then we're able to connect with those vendors as we grow in these new spaces. And our team, there I am in the middle with my co-founder Talis. We also have an accountant that we work with, Stephanie. We have a couple interns, one of them featured here, our marketing intern, Carly. We also are working with a group out of Des Moines called Sprout Media to do some marketing, and then we have an events intern from Iowa State, Dorothy, who just signed on this week. And we work with a web development team. We've actually kind of worked with a couple different teams, and right now, We Write Code out of Des Moines is helping us create new features as we go, so we're just kind of doing snippet projects instead of full-fledged website design type stuff. So as guests are kind of resorting to cash because of these insincere giving opportunities, and couples or vendors are being cut out of this huge booming gifting market, and these couples, are not finding things that really fit their lifestyle. We say that we're making it easy to make it personal, so that even guys like this, they show up at the wedding, they can find a gift that is suitable for the couple. So thanks so much. I am open to any questions you guys might have.
Hang on, don't applaud yet. Okay. DP.
How do you, what are your audiences and how do they find you?
Great question. Yep, and I can hear pretty well.
Okay,
so
great.
I'll let you know if I need you to repeat, but that was crystal clear. So, so we work, it's kind of 3 tiers. So, you have to have the gifts, you have to work with the vendors, you have to have the couples to create the registries, and then you need the guests to purchase the gifts. So, we're connecting with vendors, really just essentially we started just with people that we knew here, and then we grew that by word of mouth, which only goes so far. So we've done some kind of Facebook campaigns where we're reaching vendors and trying to target people in those 4 categories on our site. So anybody who falls into arts and culture, active adventures, health and wellness, or food and dining. And we've had some just email marketing campaigns to reach those new vendors. Vendors can actually go through our site also and just submit a request. We review that request and reach out to them, and we talk about, what is the experience we want to offer. we set a price point and we pull together a contract with that vendor. So that's kind of what it looks like on the vendor side, which is a little bit more robust. Our couples really just find us through, we've also pushed out some marketing efforts there. And we started with couples that we knew, and then, you know, as they're going to different weddings, it kind of is a ripple effect. But we're finding as we're moving into these new markets, we're targeting couples at different expos, wedding events, and also hitting them through Instagram quite a bit, through some paid ads. And so they go through our site and create a registry, and then our guests really are just by default. So they're the ones that are coming from all over the US or all over the world to come to these weddings in these cities. And so as you guys know, attending weddings, you kind of just follow the link and you're like, oh, this is where they're registered, here's what I'm gonna buy for them. So we find that the guests are really excited about the opportunities that are a little bit different, the opportunities presented, because they're different than maybe other weddings they've been to. But the guests are really just the ones that once we get the couples in and we have the vendors locked in, the guests make the purchases because that is where the couple has registered.
A quick follow-up. Do you program or target wedding planners, event planners, venue directors? Because they seem to be a force multiplying layer that could allow you to get your message to one person who then has a network of many.
You bet, you bet. Yeah, so we've looked into that a bit, and we've kind of worked with each of those segments in some capacity. We found that, you know, there's a strategy that people have, a timeline when you get married, that you kind of book the venue, book the photographer, book the catering, all pretty quickly. And then the other pieces kind of fall into line later on. So we like to catch people kind of at that first stage instead of kind of the last minute stages. We have not worked a ton with wedding planners, but we have worked with venues and photographers specifically. So we have some partnerships with photographers, which essentially we create a discount for them, and then they give us leads to their couples, which we can we email out, you know, information to, or they send a direct link to. They make recommendations, and then we also have just, you know, flyers and such within those venues that are partners of ours as well. So some of those venues are also vendors. So we have a couple breweries, for example, that host, you know, wedding events leading up to the wedding. And so it kind of is like a twofold approach where they're able to promote their space, but also their experience on our site. And as a result, they make a recommendation to the couples that they're working with.
It just seems like a fantastic idea. In your long-term thinking is just two parts. Is franchising in the plan, and then when are you going to go on Shark Tank?
What was the last piece of that? Sorry.
When are you going to go on Shark Tank?
Oh, great question. If you have an in, we could pop on by tomorrow if there's an opening. But yeah, so thank you for the compliment. Our long-term strategy, so we have thought about the franchising model. We're actually right now looking into, you know, we just rolled out this new feature, and as a way to kind of promote that, we're looking at actually having adopting a model similar to, you know, like the R-Bond, so having someone who's kind of rep our brand in each of these cities, but essentially it's really focused on vendors, kind of getting those vendors locked in. So it will be a lot of, we're looking to kind of have a sales approach with different individuals in a few different established markets that we're looking to hit, to see how far we can get with just them, you know, making direct sales. We also have a couple, one of our interns is focused on just cold calling, cold emailing, and we worked with a research team out of Iowa, University of Iowa, to actually help curate some of the vendor list that we want to go after, so that we have something to work from, and that's all based on, you know, interest that is generated online, and then pulling some stats about, you know, what are the kind of the popular spots in each of these cities. Because we're not familiar, I'm to an extent familiar with Madison, but you can only get so far. And really we want to make sure that we're not just taking every single vendor, so we have, you know, 6 different bead shops. That's really not what we're going for. We want to make sure we have, you know, the top 4 or 5 different studios in each of these kind of different services. So whether if it's like a couples massage, we don't want to have 7 different massage places, but maybe the top 3 in that city. So so that's really what we're working with that research team, and then having kind of these curated lists that are these sales folks will then go and hit up in different markets. So that's kind of the approach we're taking right now, in addition to trying to get this custom experience created and out there, so that like I said, the couples then can demand the market, and then we can go to these vendors and say, hey, X, Y, and Z coffee shop, we've had 15 couples register through our site. Would you like to become a MarryMyCity partner?
Go ahead, Julie.
Can you, if I were someone getting married, can I pick experiences from multiple cities, because the Midwest is small, and say I want to go to Chicago, or I want to go to Minneapolis, or if say you guys expand the way you are hoping to expand, can a couple then be like, yep, I want to go to a Twins game, and I want to go to a museum in Chicago that I don't know about, because I don't go to museums, but you know what I mean?
Yep, no, that's awesome, and I appreciate the question. We are actually really trying to promote, especially in places like some of these Midwest areas. It's really nice to have that cross traffic. So if somebody wants to go to Madison for the night and catch a show and stay the night at an Airbnb or a hotel there, that could be a fun way for them to come from a smaller town and do that, kind of come to the big city. So it doesn't just have to be where you live. You can actually view experiences from elsewhere, and then plan kind of like a road trip, if you will. We are also trying to actually curate right now. We're in the process of curating really specified day trips. So some of these smaller cities that don't have enough vendors to really fill out a whole registry necessarily in that one spot, we're allowing day trip options. So for example, we have a great little town called Decorah. It's kind of a college town, and there's a handful of great breweries there, and hiking, and some other active adventures. So trying to pull a little day trip together. People want to go bike, catch a tour, maybe stay the night, and then head home. So yes, you are able to add from other cities if you're looking to venture outside of the city that you live in.
I have 2 somewhat related questions. One is, along that line, have you thought about, or is there an option to kind of create an empty bucket that is not linked to a particular vendor, but somebody could say, I know I want to travel to Paris next year. I don't know what I'm going to do, but my guests could register for a night out in Paris. I'll figure it out. I don't actually need MarryMyCity to do the vendor component of it. I just need to be able to put a bucket together. In the same way, like a honeymoon option in my family, we aggregate gifts all the time. And so is there a way that you could put that guests can say, I want to register, my gift wants to be $200 towards your honeymoon, and then it goes in that. Is that something that's in the website that you offer?
Yeah, so great question. So as you notice, I think one of the first that hit the market that was different than usual big box stores registries is actually Honey Fund, which some of you might be familiar with, but that's been around for quite a while and allows you to group fund honeymoon adventures. So really that is just cash. I actually found out I bought her a scuba trip, and she ended up buying flip-flops and other clothes for the trip, which was a little bit disappointing, but I guess that's her choice. So yeah, there are similar models where you're buying an experience, and it's really just a gift of cash. They put it toward whatever they want at their honeymoon. So we have tossed around that idea. We don't have that on our site right now. We're trying to figure out, how do you stay in line with your mission of really giving back to these local businesses, because really that was how it started, is that we realized that they were just kind of tossed out of that market and cut off from it, and these small businesses have really tried to pull together their own registries, and it just with inventory and all these things, they couldn't make it work and get themselves out there. So really that was at the root of what we were trying to do, was get that money back to local markets. So we kind of strayed away from that, but we have right now we're working on, we actually have the option of doing group gifting. So for example, we have a couple artists that have, their pieces are $1,000, and a lot of people aren't spending $1,000 for a group or for a gift for a wedding. So, you know, maybe if all your coworkers or a group of family friends want to go in together, they can actually group fund something on the site. So it's similar idea where you're kind of, it's a larger amount that you're putting it toward something larger, but it's maybe not that specific item. But we right now don't have the ability to, we're kind of featuring like honeymoons and other elements of the wedding, but it's definitely something for us to think about because a lot of people are doing that. We're finding that in other markets. Even, gosh, there's a registry out there that's for home repairs, and couples are wanting to like fix up their home or do new things to their home after they get married, and so you're seeing that trend kind of ripple through the gifting market. So it's definitely something we're thinking about. So thank you.
As you expand and you grow, how are you targeting cities? Like, is Milwaukee a key city or is Madison? Like, do you want to be major cities or smaller?
Great question. Yep. So we actually just presented in Kansas City a few weeks ago at their 1 Million Cups, and picked you guys out for specific reasons. We were looking at communities that have kind of a certain age range, certain demographics that have a really strong startup community, or are really focused on that local component. So we kind of just pinpointed a few in the Midwest. Initially, we actually did test a wedding out in Austin as well, just to kind of have a gauge of what that looks like. So we worked with someone we knew there to curate a registry and see how well that sold. So we're kind of just testing out these markets right now. Milwaukee is on our list of a city to go to, as well as Minneapolis. Right now, we're kind of starting with Madison and Kansas City, and seeing where we go from there. We're staying focused in the Midwest right now, but it's been fun to kind of start testing these other cities that are, you know, maybe on a coast to see what does the giving trend look like there, how much are people spending, how many gifts are they purchasing per person. So it's really interesting that these trends are very different depending on where you are in the United States. So right now we kind of feel like we have a little bit more of a handle on the Midwest and in our buying tendencies here. So that's why we're focusing in those areas.
I have a question, so I'm not going to call on you again, DP. I'm curious about sort of the fulfillment mechanics. So let's say a night at a restaurant is the gift and it's purchased. On the one hand, what does the couple receive, like tangibly? Is it like effectively a gift certificate? And then what does redemption look like on the merchant side?
Great question. Yep, so with our vendors, it's actually, the vendors are taking care of the fulfillment. So we've been through a couple iterations of how we're going to make that work, and we've found that this is the best approach. So it looks a little bit different with what we've established with each of our vendors, but essentially it is in the form of a gift card or gift certificate. So there's a process where we're notified that a gift has been purchased. We send an automated email to our vendor that says, you know, $100 at this restaurant of yours. Here's the couple's information, and they ship out the gift, and then it's showed that it's redeemed on the guest side. And then the couples actually have a component of the registry that allows them to see the thank you list. So they can see that, you know, their Aunt Mary purchased them this $100 gift card to a nice fancy dinner with some wine and whatever else might be involved. And then there might be a little message from their Aunt Mary that they can see then on their actual platform on MarryMyCity.com. So yes, the process is taken care of. Vendors are actually the ones sending out. There are a few situations where, you know, it's actually some merchandise, or there are, the couples are actually supposed to go into the shop to redeem it, but there is always something tangible that they're getting to show them or tell them what that next step is for them to redeem that gift.
Okay, so then just a quick follow-up. The payment, it goes to you at time of gift giving, right? So then you've just got a separately negotiated exchange with the vendor, you know, between you and the vendor, right?
You bet. So
okay.
The payment goes through our site, and then we pay out at the end of each month. Those payments go out to vendors. So again, it's an 80-20 split. We take 20%, they take 80%. And another perk for the vendors is that they are getting this huge market of people. So we have this like whiskey shop, but they're really trying to get their brand out there, more nationally. And they're finding that a lot of these wedding guests are coming from all over the country, and so they're coming to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, of all places, for the whole weekend, and they need to find something to do. So they might pop into the whiskey shop. They might actually, when they're looking at the site, say, oh, this is either something cool to check out, or I want to buy some online for myself. So there's really a great a strategy, that these vendors are able to connect with people in these alternate markets that aren't just this local population of people, but their brand is getting out there, and people from outside of the state are coming to visit their space. So, you're reading about a cool breakfast place that the couple is registered for a brunch at. When you're in town, you're like, well, it must be good if the couple registered for it, so they tend to pop by. So that's been a fun way to connect those audiences and market those vendors as well on another level.
You've implied that you're going to be doing a certain level of editorial curation, which I think is great and I think is incredibly important. Are you going in the future, or is it now? Is there a social feedback mechanism as well, kind of a Yelp, so that people who've received are able to say, yeah, this is a 5-star experience, things like that? Because it would seem to me that making this not just a place to go pick out a thing or create a registry, but kind of let's check in, see what's happening, let's, because I wouldn't know this personally, but I understand the wedding industry has a lot of people who like to plan their weddings well in advance of actually having a groom, and making this a place where you can go and play fantasy wedding is a good thing. So this is my way of encouraging you to create a social layer, because that will generate heat that gets people in well in advance of any wedding, so that you're already in the mix of their planning schedule, if you will.
Yeah, no, I love that. And we aren't really connected to the Yelps of the world. Obviously our businesses are, but that's a great feature. And even just that check-in component, I know that can really generate a lot of eyes on your products and eyes on your site. So we aren't doing a whole lot of that at the moment. There's different social media strategies that you can try and employ, and we're doing, that's why we kind of hired this small marketing company to test some of that out, to see where is our audience coming from, how do we really link with them before we put a ton of money into one space or the other. Something we found recently is Pinterest is very big. I kind of just, by default, I thought that maybe that was fading a bit, but I just am not huge on Pinterest these days. So I realized that that's still really big in the wedding market. So how can we kind of tap into that audience, for example? But yes, and your comment to well in advance. A lot of people are doing this well in advance, and we have people registered on our site that have weddings in 2020, and so they are ahead of the curve. They're much doing things a lot faster than I did when I got married. And so yes, that's a great, thank you for that feedback. We need to look more into kind of how we can use those check-in mechanisms and other pieces of that planning that might kind of rope people in. So
do you see this expanding to children's birthday parties and everything beyond? I mean, you're having a baby, so baby registry, like that's naturally, do you see that progressing that way, or do you want to stick with weddings because that's where money is actually being given?
Great question. So it depends on who you talk to. We're kind of talking to investors right now, and we bring that up to some people and they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't even talk about other markets. This is a huge market, stay in this market. And then others are like, oh, that's great, let's talk about that. So we're kind of in this middle ground where we're really trying to focus on the wedding gift registry market because it is so big, and we still haven't really hit that mark yet, or even really dabbled outside of the state of Iowa. So we're staying there for now, but we realize that there's a ton of people coming to our site that could be repeat customers. So they're then having an anniversary the next year. They may have a baby within the next couple of years, 2 to 5 years, and then there's all these other life milestones. So people are even making wish lists now for birthday parties, for Christmas, retirement parties. Sounds a little morbid, but funerals, you get a lot of flowers, and instead, maybe gifting a hobby or a spa day would be nice. So we are thinking about these other markets. Right now, we have the option of actually just going on our site and purchasing items so that you can gift them yourself. And that's, if you're going to a birthday party and you just can't make it out to the store, but you want to take a look online, we can actually fulfill that sort of thing. So we're not specifically tying to either of these markets right now. We know there's great opportunity there, but we are selling our products just outright. I will say one thing that, MarryMyCity, M-A-R-R-Y, we had a play on words last year and used M-E-R-R-Y around the holidays, MarryMyCity, and encouraged people to purchase Christmas gifts through our site. So we had a little bit of an uptick there, but we have some work to do in terms of how we might sell that. And again, that's still on the line of products. Not to make this too complicated, but there is one other market that we have tapped into just because there was an opportunity, and it's not one that we've talked about, but the real estate market. We have a couple really large real estate companies in the state that essentially when they sell a house, they give them a Home Depot gift card and I think a toilet paper, and they say, congratulations on your new home. It feels a little bit detached. And so we're working with them to actually gift them an experience in the city. So just recently there was a family that moved to town and we got them they purchased, the realtor that we worked with purchased a gift or a family membership to the nature center in town and kind of like a hiking excursion. So kind of a fun way to tie these new folks into the city that they're moving to, or just give them a little boost instead of that Home Depot gift card. So great question. That was a long response, but we have looked into other markets and we're really focused on this one right now, but there are a couple others we're just testing out in the meantime.
One more question?
Yeah, I think there were a couple other hands up. Yeah, please.
I have 2 weddings I'm going to next summer, and this sounds really awesome. I'd love to purchase from it. They're not in any of your cities currently. Is the custom experience good enough that I should feel comfortable pointing them to the custom experience?
You say, can you just repeat it one more time? Is it something about referring them to the custom experience? Sorry, I missed the beginning of that.
So I'm going to 2 weddings next summer, and
great.
I'd like to refer them to it, but I want to make sure that the custom experience is, people are satisfied with it before I do that.
Yep. Great, so it is a new feature. We've had a few weddings that have tested this out, and so far so good. The difference is they do get essentially a Visa gift card that allows them to fulfill all those experiences because we don't have those links with the vendors. The fulfillment looks a little bit different. So they will actually receive a Visa gift card that encompasses all of the experiences that are part of that custom experience that they pulled together. So, I mean, these couples can go pull 10 experiences together and it could be a nice complement to their already established target registry, or it could be, they could solely, we have a couple right now that is on their 3rd marriage, and they were like, well, we can't ask for gifts again because we've done that twice. But people are going to buy us stuff, and we feel weird, because we're established professionals. So they've kind of created their own site based on things that are meaningful to them, and that will also come in the form of a gift card because they've used that custom experience to create those. So the feature does work. We've gotten good reviews, but we're always looking for feedback. So if you guys want to try that out and you have any suggestions, we're more than happy to get those fixes if there's anything that comes up. Like I said, we have a great tech team that we just go to figure out those glitches. But so far so good. So yes, that'd be great for you to recommend, and we'd love to see what those couples that you're connected to are looking for in those markets so that we can start expanding.
I kind of have a follow-up to that. I know that typically the vendor, or you take a 20% fee from the vendors or from the price. Is that the same for this particular situation?
No, it's not. So if we don't have an established relationship with a contract, we don't actually take that fee from the vendor. So it's really just right now, in order for us to generate those new markets, we are taking a fee through the site, which is just a standard fee as your gift, but it allows us, the opportunity to then link with those vendors. So we're not making a ton of money off of that new custom feature, but it is a way for us to tap into those new markets. Like I said, there's still a very minimal fee that just comes that's added to the gift when you purchase it through the site. But it's more of like a fulfillment fee that would be through. It's pretty standard. So great question.
Awesome. And I think with that, we're out of time. So thank you all. Let's give Caitlin one more round of applause.
You mind doing me a favor, actually? I'd love to put you guys and give you some love, the Madison and your new location, on our social media. Do you mind doing like a picture of the screen? I'm not sure how I appear right now. And then maybe a picture of the audience.
Sure. You want to do that? Yeah. Awesome. We have our de facto.
Hey, we need to do our community ask. What can we as a community do for her? So at the end of every, I don't know why I was prepared for that. At the end of every talk, we always ask, what can we as a community do for you? So what's your community ask for us? How can we become helpful?
Yeah, great question, and thank you for that. So as a community, as we're trying to, Chloe's taking a picture here, that's great. Well, first off, take a photo. That's something you can do. Thank you for doing that. But also just start referring couples. So we're really looking to now, we want to get those vendors. If you know someone who runs a shop, I should start there, or who has a service of some sort in Madison that you really enjoy, let them know and tell them to come through our site. We can start having that conversation with them. We'll just give them a phone call, follow up through an email, and kind of explain who we are and how they might be able to partner. So that's one thing you can do, is if you know someone who has a really great business that would like to connect with us, and it's not just your standard businesses. We have even just a tree company that just joined on that. They plant trees in people's yards, and people are getting married. They want a tree to represent their marriage. So think outside the box when it comes to what those vendors could look like. And then at the same time, we all know people getting married, or you come across them throughout the year. So just let them know this is an option if they'd like to tag this on to something they're already working on, and or use this as their main registry. We'd be thrilled to have them. So they can go on our site, MarryMyCity.com, and just create a registry. So vendors and couples, spread the word.
Woo! Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you all back here. Same day, same place next week.
Thank you.